Well, hello everyone, and we're really excited to introduce the brand new version of mCLASS Circle. My name is Jeff Kidd, and I'm the product manager for mCLASS Circle, and I'm joined by my associate Lauren Moldauer, and we're really excited to show you a brand new version of our pre-K assessment mCLASS Circle, because we believe that pre-K children deserve the best possible start, and the way to do that is to get data about them so that we can drive smart decisions in the pre-K classroom. So we're going to give you a quick introduction to Circle for folks who maybe are unfamiliar with it, talk about some of the new Head Start measures that we're adding this year to Circle, look at some of the new device options, and then get into a demo of our brand new beautiful version of our pre-K assessment. So what is the Circle assessment? Well, the Circle assessment is a formative assessment that is focused on the cognitive and emotional and physical development of pre-K students between the ages of 3.5 and 5. And it's observational, so it allows teachers and other people that are in the pre-K classroom to observe what's happening in a natural setting and looks at the whole student, so cognitive, social, and physical development. And then based on this information, you can target activities to help the students continue to grow and develop as they need to. The Circle was developed by Dr. Susan Landry, who is the director of the Children's Learning Institute out of the University of Texas at Houston, and it is one of the most well-established assessments of pre-K development in the country over 10 years. Thousands of classrooms across the country have been assessing students and making sure that we understand that. So it's very well researched, and a lot of data has been collected about pre-K students, and really one of the really on the forefront of pre-K development. And we're so excited that we're going to be adding additional domains this year so that we cover all of the Head Start domains. So you can see many of the new measures are being added, including science and social studies, as well as physical development, creative arts, and approaches to learning. And there's two different ways that we capture this data about students. So for things like social and emotional development, book and print awareness, approaches to learning, we have what we call observables. So these are checklists with very specific indicators of student progress that a teacher can do over the course of the year to see how a child is moving forward across these different domains of understanding. And then we also have observational assessment for the cognitive and academic areas like literacy, mathematics, science, and social studies, where a teacher is actually going to ask a child to do a task, and then we'll make observations about that on a device, and then based on that can make inferences about their cognitive development. And all of these bring together the logic and reasoning domain from Head Start and the overall cognitive development. Those are baked into each of these specific academic indicators. And we're going to take a look at some of those in their demo today. So it's really easy. So there's a lot of information that a teacher needs to keep track of, and mCLASS Circle makes it really easy to capture all of that information all in one place. So teachers can use a laptop, and now, starting this year, iPad, Chromebook, and other devices in order to capture that information right on the device. All of the instructions and information that you need are all available directly on the device. So you don't need any paper, you don't need a timer or any of these other kinds of things. And also all of the information that you would show to a child is right there on the device as well. And you can assess these students whether you're online or offline. So we know that a lot of pre-K classrooms don't have access to the internet, and that's fine. You can assess the student even if you're not connected to the internet, and then later on when you go to a place where your device can connect to the internet, you can sync all that information, and that stores it securely and permanently in our mCLASS Home portal. That has all the information available for you. And when you're on mCLASS Home, you can also see reports about your students, get access to activities, and if you're an administrator for a pre-K program that's looking across multiple pre-K classrooms. We also have a very robust data visualization suite of reports that allow you to compare populations, look at trends, look at completion across the various measures, and download your data for third-party integration. So we have a complete solution for all of your pre-K needs, and we think it's going to be really great, and we're really excited to show you the brand new version of that. So let's do a quick demo of what that looks like. All right, so now we're actually logged in as Jason Taylor, who's a pre-K teacher, and you can see we have a list of all of Jason's students that he has in his classroom. And you'll also notice that some of the students in his classroom speak Spanish, and so they've been assessed in English and Spanish, and that's those students there. So whether you're assessing students just in English, just in Spanish, or some combination of the two, you'll always have all of the information for all your students in one place. And we can see that for each of the students, we have all of those domains we talked about earlier, the literacy, the STEM, as well as the observable data. Jason hasn't done the assessment for many of his students, so we need to go ahead and get started with that. So I'm going to click on Danny Lopez, who's a little 4-year-old student, and let's try using vocabulary. So Lauren, why don't you walk us through the vocabulary assessment?
Sure. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the blue Assess icon right here and launch the vocabulary assessment. As you can see here, teachers are prompted with scoring instructions that inform them how they can go about scoring each item on the assessment. Teachers can use their keyboard, or they can click using the mouse, or alternatively tap on their touchscreen device to score items. Here you can see the scoring rule screen, which includes all of the information that we want to make sure teachers are reminded of before beginning assessments. So we want to ensure that teachers aren't having to go sift through papers to find the important details that they must know before administering assessment. So we keep all of that information right here for them on the scoring rule screen that will appear before the assessment every time. On the vocabulary assessment, we have 2 practice items that a teacher does with her student before launching the actual timed 1-minute assessment. On this screen you can see Mr. Say, which is on the left-hand side right here, and Mr. Say is something that appears in all of the circle assessments and is a cue for teachers to read text aloud to the child. So here you can see that Mr. Say says, I'm going to show you some pictures. I want you to tell me the name of each picture as quickly as you can. Let's look at the first one. Here again on the upper left you see Mr. Say. This is a cue for the teacher to read the text at the top, which says, what is the name of this picture? The child may respond, ball, in which case the teacher could either click this button on the upper right, she could use the up arrow to indicate the correct answer, or use her finger to tap on the circle. So I'm going to go ahead and use the up arrow to score that item as correct. Mr. Say is reminding the teacher to say to the child, good job, what is the name of this picture? The child may incorrectly provide an answer for this item. The teacher can either tap on her device, use the mouse to click this bottom button, or use the down key on the keyboard. Again, we have Mr. Say prompting the teacher to say to the child, that was a good try, but this is an apple. Say apple. The child responds correctly. One last time we have a cue from Mr. Say, which says, okay, now I'm going to show you some more pictures. Tell me the name for each one as quickly as you can. It is okay to say, I don't know. Let's see how many you can name. Ready? The child can take a moment before beginning the 60-second timed assessment. As you see here, we have images on the screen, and if the child responds correctly to an item, the teacher would mark this top button. If the child responds incorrectly, the teacher would go ahead and mark the bottom button. And as you've noticed, the screen advances automatically after 3 seconds if the child doesn't provide an answer. In those scenarios, the item is automatically marked as incorrect because the child didn't provide a response within 3 seconds.
So we've skipped to the end of the assessment, and you'll see here that we provide this colorful congratulations screen. You'll notice that because this was a language-oriented assessment, it has the ABCs. We also have math and science congratulations screens as well. So this makes it feel a little bit more like a game and encourages the student to have a positive experience in the assessment. once the student is assessed, we're going to go to the results screen. And here you're going to see that Danny Lopez has an emerging understanding in vocabulary. Obviously wasn't able to identify many of the items correctly, and so you can see this is a color-coded score there. So these color codings are based on the age of the child as well as the number of correct answers the child gives within the 60-second time frame. And these cut points have been very thoroughly researched by the Children's Learning Institute to make sure that they indicate the appropriate developmental growth for that child. So there's been a lot of differences, a lot of changes in terms of how robust we think the responses need to be, and these responses have been very thoroughly researched over many years and thousands of students across the country to make sure that they're correct. So from here we could move on to the next item, and let's take a look at science. So Lauren, I'll throw that back over to you.
Again, here we have the scoring instruction screens for teachers. The scoring rules for science are laid out for the teacher. This is a reminder of all of the administration protocol rules that we want teachers to read before administering assessments. Here you see Mr. Say again, which prompts the teacher to read text aloud to the child. The teacher reads, "We are going to talk about some science pictures. Use your finger to point to the picture that you think answers my question. If you're not sure which to point to, that's okay. Just take your best guess." You can see that at the top of the screen, the teacher reads to the child, "You can use your 5 senses to learn more about this watermelon." Then the teacher clicks on the screen, and 3 response images will appear below. Next, the teacher reads, "Which body part can you use to taste this watermelon?" So here the child is asked to think about the question presented to him or her and respond with an answer. If the child responds correctly, he or she would point to the mouth. It's important to know that whichever selection a teacher makes or a child makes, because in this scenario a child could touch the touchscreen himself, the responses don't indicate which or whether the item was correct or incorrect. We can proceed to the next question and see that there's a similar format throughout the science assessment. Mr. Say prompts the teacher to say, "This is an ocean. Which animal lives in the ocean?" The child may respond incorrectly and select this middle image. This assessment proceeds with several more questions that look at a child's understanding of early engineering concepts, understanding of the weather, and many other concepts in science that the Children's Learning Institute has deemed appropriate for 3.5 to 5-year-olds. If we look at this next question, you can see that some assessment items don't have a stimulus image. The child is only presented with 3 images. Here the teacher reads, "Look at the tires on each of these bikes. Which of these bikes would be easiest to move?" The child may be able to see that there are differences in the tires and then respond correctly by selecting the middle image.
Thanks, Lauren. So there are 24 questions altogether in the science section. And let's go ahead and skip back to the results screen where again we're going to see the results with the cut scores applied to them to make sure that the student, in this case Danny, didn't do so well, so he is still emerging in terms of where he needs to be for science. And as a teacher, I might do some of the activities with Danny so that we can help him with his science skill development. So that's just a quick overview of the new version of mCLASS Circle. It's available right now, and we're going to be rolling this out in the upcoming school year. And we're really excited to get more customers, not just in Texas, but across the country, using mCLASS Circle so that they can get all the information they need across all of Head Start, all the domains in Head Start, so they can be really effective in the classroom. And there's a lot more information available for you on our website, which is amplify.com/circle. So please go there. We would love to come to your school or pre-K center and give you a demo in person or over the web and answer all of your questions about mCLASS Circle so you can get started on that right away. Thank you so much.